This is The Stash, and you're listening to the Business Bottom Line podcast, coming to you from the Jewel City of the Mountains, Greenville, Tennessee. We're in the foothills of the Smokies, talking business with people just like you who are responsible for the bottom line, sharing business tips to inspire, inform, and improve, and turn your bottom line from red to black. So, good morning. Good morning, Nathan. This is Nathan Gentit with Fenders Garage downtown in a very historic place. And his toolbox may not be historic, but one day it will be historic, right, Jason?
It survives.
Nathan. So anyway, we're going to get acquainted here about the business and a little bit of family and kind of understand who you are and then find out what tip you would give for the people listening to the podcast. So tell us a little bit of personal history, kind of how you got here, and a little bit about the family.
So as far as personal history, I was actually introduced to auto repair in high school to shop runs.
Okay.
Was actually thinking of going to a trade school, and I had a bunch of mechanics convinced me, no, get your degree. That way, if you could be a mechanic, but then if something happens, you got something.
Yeah, you got plan B.
Problem is, you get a degree, no one wants to hire you as mechanics. So was an engineer in the automotive field for about 10 years.
Okay.
And then it just circumstances allowed, we were able to move here to open up a shop, which I'd always wanted to open up a shop.
Okay.
So I was also getting fed up in the automotive engineering world, the corporations, you got the bureaucracy, politics, had some ethical issues with the company I was working at. As far as what they seem to, they'd set one standard, and then if they couldn't meet it a few years later, then they just lower the bar. And then a few years later, say, we've improved this. So stuff like that. I guess the wool was being a hold away from my eye. Yeah, no, not somewhere I want to be.
Now tell us a little bit about engineer. Is kind of, for most of us, that's kind of a broad term.
Yeah.
So what was that focused on?
So the first 2 years out of college, I worked for a supplier directly at Toyota doing wire harness design. So that was a lot of CAD work with the actual physical routing to the car design, and then also the connector pinouts and the wiring, string wire sets. So Toyota, from what I know, has one of the strictest standards for wire harnesses. So even in today, that what I'm doing today, that's like a huge benefit for me. Like I learned a lot in those 2 years just for that I used since then, just for basic work.
Yeah.
Stuff that I look back at some of the wiring I did in high school, like for fog lights and stuff, I cringe at what I did. And then I was, then I went to GM, where for the first 5 or 6 years there, I was what they call a DRE, design responsible engineer, basically a project manager for design changes. And that was in the shifting components for automatic transmissions, so clutches, seals, that. So I was that, and then I basically moved into the validation side because if you remember the ignition switch recall that happened back in 2014 with GM.
Yeah.
Part of the agreement with the government to mitigate that was it used to be that the DREs were responsible for validation, but for Fox Watch and speakers, they can say, we don't actually need that tested, sign off on it without actually being done the proper test. They had to separate those groups. So I became the test engineer or the validation director. And it was honestly a position where not enough people for the workload. I had stuff that I just could never get done because there's only so much time in mind. And I could see that GM, at least at the time I left, was pushing to go 100% virtual for validation. So, by I think 2025. And a lot of us just saw that was like, you need self-level hardware more than what they wanted. And I was like, I know at some point this is going to backfire because I'm one of the key members involved in trying to make that push. I might become a scapegoat. So that was another factor as to why I wanted to sort of get out of there before it got too bad. Sort of leave on that terms. So,
But that laid a great foundation for
exactly
where you are
I
today.
mean, wiring and vehicle electronics and automatic transmissions, two of the things that scare most mechanics the most. And I mean, like right now, I don't have the space to do transmission work, but I at least have enough of an understanding that I can usually at least give an idea of what the rule might be, or give some direction. My customer say it could be something as simple as this, but it could be about as this. And I usually send them to somebody who does more in-depth work, because I'm like, I can do, the first set of steps, but then the next guy's going to want to repeat those steps to verify it himself.
Right.
So, so yeah, that's, like I said, circumstances allowed for us to open up a shop here. Her parents have a living space on that property that we could move into. The real estate market was prime, so we were actually able to sell the house for well more than I paid for it to fund starting business.
That's great.
It's been a big blessing, just how everything worked. I mean, her dad had started his own business in engineering, so I was able to work for him part-time as we were starting this up. And
a lot of pieces fell together. So it's been good and all that.
It moved close to my parents. It was just, huge benefit.
So there is a mate on the way.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
How long you guys been married?
6 years. Last week actually.
Oh wow. Well, that's an anniversary.
Thank you. So so she's actually been learning all this stuff. She up until recently, so we're expecting our first. So she can't be in the shop as often anymore.
Well, congratulations. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because she was doing the oil changes and some of that stuff. Well, she can't be ever back.
Sure.
So and you may get down for how partner. So
well, that's a very good excuse.
Yeah. so that's part of why we started hiring on a few people. And that in part two is what the baby comes. I want to be able to be a bit more on call. And
sure.
Hopefully we can keep the shop actually open and running to some extent while with these other folks. Well, we're going through that experience.
Great.
So
exciting future ahead. More exciting. Well, I always ask people, what's a favorite book or something you've read lately? Are you a book reader? No. Well,
yeah, most of my reading is on the online forums.
I was going to say more in the articles and maybe some tech man or things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's, online forums is where I get a lot of my information.
Okay.
You have to read YouTube, but I know people who have been in the industry for years for using YouTube now. It's a go-to. They have access to some of the other sites like Burn stuff. So I have a wealth of information, but about the only book I read on a regular basis is my Bible.
Okay. Well,
everything else,
you sift down to one, that's the most important, right?
I was more of a reader back when I was in school and had more time.
Yeah, I understand. My life gets very busy. And I thought with that myself, I used to try to read at least 4 books a year, one every 3 months. I'm not making that right now. It's my confession. So anyway, but I have the bar there I want to get to. So with all these things going on, do you have any hobbies?
My whole life is cars.
Your whole life is cars.
We have 4 operational cars, 5 cars total, all over.
Well,
like even our daily driver is older than me.
So I have to tell you, you have to look at Mason's Facebook page and follow him on what was a vacation. It was all about cars. So, but it's quite interesting. I enjoyed it. All the things you shared and where you were. So that's pretty cool. So let's talk a little more specific about what you do.
Sure.
Here in the shop. Give people a picture.
Yeah. Basically we do anything general automotives. As a guideline. So we have a labor guide that we follow that says this job should take this much time. That's why if I end up having to take 3 hours to do a 2-hour job, you're still wrong. 2 hours. That's something. It's a standard that's set in the industry since these labor times. So my sort of guideline with the job is 4 to 6 hours is about.
Okay.
If it's longer than that, maybe, but I've got one bay. So if a big job, if it goes wrong, it ties up my bay for a week while I'm waiting on parts. It could really put me out.
Right.
But you know, anything brakes, suspension, control arms, AC, I am certified in AC.
Okay.
My equipment's set right there. Let's see. Tying belts, water pumps, radiators. I mean, pretty much anything and everything that's considered general automotive. As long as I don't have to remove an engine or transmission for the vehicle, I could probably do it. And I tell folks, if I can't, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll try to meet at least a few options for where you
It's kind of in computer language, it's kind of like the peripherals.
Yeah.
Anything that's connected to the main is game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we tried to cover everything. We did just start. I just hired a guy for back here. So, like heater cores and evaporators in most newer cars, you have to remove the dashboard.
Right.
So I wasn't, Ollie and I, we just weren't able to do a job like that before. But now that I've got him, we can, like, we've already done one of those jobs on a friend's car. So, like, I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable enough now that we added that to our repertoire. And those tend to be bigger jobs, like, sometimes, you know, on a 6-hour market. But it's nice you get to sit in a chair and just take out screws and like you're not getting dirty or messy. Like I'm like, okay, I can do this more often.
Now for me thinking about that, I remember the first time I saw a mechanic do that, and I went into the shop for something that I needed.
Yeah.
He was working on a Jaguar. This has been a while ago, but you know, they've always been sophisticated, even the old ones. And he had the dash out, and I never saw so many wires in my life. And I'm thinking, how would you ever put that back together? He did, and it worked, you know. So that is very good skills and knowledge. So that's so intimidating to me. I would never screw out of one, you know.
Yeah,
But-
I like I said, I like it because it's you know. That's the good.
You're not under there draining oil and grease all over.
No, we're actually supposed to do one of those yesterday, and then called it war like, hey, where you at? And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Call out. I'm going to do it.
All right.
I mean, it is an expensive. So I understand. So we went from thinking, all right, we get to, you know, like sit in the car and it's going to take all day, but whatever. We get to stay clean to doing 3 really dirty jobs.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is.
But that is important. This little sidebar. My son, for years, I was a Volvo fan. So I had lots of Volvos. Got him into Volvos for a while, and he had this rattling stash. This was like, I don't know, a middle of range car, and found out it was a dash clip that the dash was sitting on, and it created this rattle. He couldn't stand it. So I bought the car from him because I could live with it. But we had it and had it estimated, and they had to take it all out. It was like $2,800 to replace this $40 clip. Yeah. Okay. We're not doing that because it's so complicated to take apart and put that together and put all day or 2 days.
There's some jobs I'm like, this is what it costs to fix it. But honestly, it's a slight oil. You can run the oil level.
Yeah.
You're fine.
If you can live with it,
but
maybe you should.
But if you're not going to remember to check the oil, maybe like that's before you run out.
Yeah. Well, you know, being able to assess that, do an analysis, and then being an honest person, it is a huge benefit to the community that would bring something for you. So, and I know you care about the community, and you do a bunch of things that are not earning, but they're kind of giving back in some ways. Look,
I know around here, there's a lot of struggle. It's like my buddy who had a motorcycle job. But, you know, that meaning the needs that you're working on vehicles and people leave everything. You know, like, and they, you know, sometimes they can't work or you leave it without it. He's like, whereas I'm working on vehicle toys.
Yeah.
So he's like, they, you know, the guys I'm, you know, who are bringing their bikes, like, they're weren't great, you know, $8,000 here and there, but that's really under like you, like, they're some $20 difference instead of, you know, break.
Well, it's like the same thing in your vehicle. It means going to work.
Yeah.
Exactly. Couldn't do perform whatever important stuff. Yeah. So, what would you say your biggest challenge is? I know for all of us in business, and myself included, trying to attract new business is always a challenge. When you don't have name recognition like some name brand, which is maybe not as big in garages, but it takes a while to develop that brand. So, but what's your biggest challenge? Is it the technology? Is it the visibility? Competition? What is it?
No, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know what's going on at other shops, and they're all like, are they more confident? I know one of the big things for me is I can't.
Okay.
If someone, I've had people call, hey, you swap motors and you swap a train, correct? I can, I know how, but I don't have the space.
Yeah.
We are hoping to be able to add on to the back of our building at least 2 or 3 more bays.
Okay.
And that would give us history pipe for that. That's the thing. We don't even have a full size lift.
Right.
We've got a lift that goes up about halfway, which is great for the space we're in. Yeah. And then for the type of work we do, right? That's the goal. It's once we have that, we're like, okay, we got a job that comes in and it takes all week. Okay, we're not signing up today. I'm waiting for.
Well, this is just from a run-educated perspective. I look at some of the shops around here, and I kind of figured that if there's a car sitting there, they are making money on it. And some of the lots have 20 or 30 cars sitting around the garage. And I'm thinking, I wonder are they making money on that? I don't assume they get paid until they get it repaired.
Well, that's the thing. Usually those shops too, they've got like 5 or 6 days, which are multiplication dollars work. So, I mean, I know at least the good shops that are well established, they're usually booked out. That's I get customers that are like, well, I usually take it to this person, but I already got a good reputation. But the first one,
right?
I'm more for they're like, I can't wait 3 weeks to have this done. I gotta car fix. It's over. You bring. Maybe honestly, there's just so much work and people. But yeah, I mean, I think that's right now it would be. We try to utilize our social media. We try to let folks know, hey, we've actually got it. Because sometimes we're booked out.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, this industry's sort of feast or famine, especially with us still sort of in our agency nature. We for what they call, when we're booked up, we're booked up. Like, sorry, if you want to drop it off, we can try and work it in, but it's only 3-4 people. Or usually with more. So it's getting to that point where we just roll.
So now, what hours is the shop open?
Friday, Monday through Friday. Run checking. They somehow understand it pretty good.
First thing,
I mean, it's all week in the hill. It's between 4 of us running.
Right. And in the work you do, an 8-hour day, pretty much. For your energy,
it runs out.
I
mean, sometimes my wife's sugaring something. I'm going to skip lunch because I'm just steering ball something. Yeah, I'm a person who eats to live. I don't live to eat. So I'm in the middle of something. I usually forget that.
I can associate with that. I work in retail business for years. Sometimes you got lunch, and sometimes you did just kind of coffee. Once they get past the initial order, it will go right on.
Yeah, well, see, I had that hungry, so that's what
Oh, I see. Yeah, I hadn't heard that term for a while, but I know what you're saying. It's time to eat, even though I can't. Well, we talked about kind of what you do now to help people, because it's really basic in everybody's life. Transportation, like it's what you get away from food and electricity, and water. Transportation is right there.
I think it's even off the website. Next to your home, your equals a big investment.
Yes.
And it's the biggest appreciating asset you'll ever have.
What's the bad part?
Unless you're like me who only buys classic cars and they just keep going up and up.
Okay.
But that's a whole different lifestyle. Yeah. So,
Well, in fact, you're traveling. Tell us what you were traveling when you were public.
so our daily driver is a 1966 GMC Ambassador. It does have a more modern engine than we bought it. Drivetrain's more modern. Where we did last March delivery to drove out to Arizona, stayed with the prime for a bit. About 66 probably, I would say.
So, and you were probably one of the very few in that car. Though didn't see it that way.
I mean, AMC, the company that made it, they basically been the top since Chrysler bottom in 90. And really the last remnants of true AMC corporation was the beef tear. So they're still eat before on their own. So saying you to bought parts be everybody. But all that said, it's very hard to find an AMC now on that trip. So I went to Salvage Yard in Arizona, a classic car salvage yard, and about a lot of parts there. They were on DVD a while back. So they're fairly well known as Fred car. They had like a whole section for AMC in that body style. So, I saw some incomplete cars there when we were rolling into Albuquerque at an auto repair shop. That's our 67, which is the same body style as our sedan. And then as we were getting close to the end of our trip in St. Louis, ranching Sunday, we want to see what they call the Rebel Machine. So it was the AMC Rebel 2-door, and they the biggest engine they had, 4-speed. But it was like white, orange stripes, blue, right? But they pulled up next to us, and it's the same. So basically, the Ambassador is like the upgraded version. It's sort of like the difference between a Ford and a Mercury, and stuff. As far as their luxury level, so to speak. So it was basically the same car underneath that pulled up next to us. So it was really cool that on our trip we got to see all these our car basically. Yeah, I should right? Yeah, how it is.
Bro, I'm old. It's unique here. I know that. So, well, from your perspective, operating a shop and working on used cars, how they use, what are you seeing in your arena of why? Where do you see things going? Where do you see?
So I've already mentioned we're open in Chico. They did hire to guys. We're in the bathroom. I think the big thing I'm trying to avoid is there's much bigger shops here. And of course I see most of the customers who need girl sprays and they're upset with something. Which, so my I guess perspective, it's probably a little so to speak. But they leave, and I know these the owners of these shops are good reputation, right? Some of them I've spoken to the owner, and they're all they were honest. Like I don't get any vibes like they're bro. But I'm like, what happens? You get so bidding. And my wife's uncle is and will keep that down in South Carolina, and not it gets sort of there for soon. You get the sort of hard to keep an eye on your voice. So, to know, are they actually doing a good job? Right? You're trusting them to be doing a good job and to be dealing with right customer, but you don't actually know. I didn't properly, or they wave you, or if it's short or whatever. And I've had some folks come to me and they're like, "Oh, this was 2 years. This repair was done 2 years ago," and I wish it may not even be there.
Yeah.
So all that to say, like, well, I want to add on. I do want to grow. I want to grow enough that we can be more sustainable. I'm also afraid of getting too big. Big where it's running. I can run with the thing where I'm doing my best to do what's right for me personally. I from some extra, 3 or months even, that could cause me a lot of fire over the wall.
It means there are
only notably from my discussion with different people, it's that number one issue is finding people that are dependable, honest, and that will care enough about what you're doing to just do it well for your own motivation.
And we in very blessed. We've got 2 girls who work for Bird, like moon lights and putting gut guards and from big balls. And they're both hard workers. And they're on the ball. And then I got one of our young guys in first year working. It's working 3 days a week, and then for 2 hour days. It's if you need it in the morning or whatever. It's just 11-year-old, but his work ethic is probably even better. I mean, I'm not saying I have a great work ethic, but he's awesome. I read Known Squirrel. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get there. Because now I'm like, this is my expectation.
Yeah, the bar's
way up here, and I might be in trouble when I need to hire somebody else. And I've already told them, I'm like, this is what you want to do pro living, and I can afford to keep. Like, I want to be able to pay their
So, well, yeah, that is key, and it's one of both the opportunities and impediments to growth if I be people, and it's in almost every situation, it's more about the character and the work ethic, all of that, than it is the technical knowledge, which can be learned, although it takes time, but you can't teach that part, the character part. We got to start with that. So that's a big challenge. So if you were going to say, from the time you've been in business now and just in your general life knowledge, what tip would you give somebody that's starting or someone that's learned that maybe they're still relatively new or they want some encouragement? What would you say? Do this or incorporate this. What would you say?
Honestly, the big part we realized with the last couple months, it's if they get out of someone other than really the earth learning before we hired us up front. We had, like, I was more in the myself for Alan Green. So if I'm spending an hour or 2 a day, that's an hour or 2, I'm not able to spend. If I'm already getting cut for it because I answer a roll call or having to go talk to a customer, and I may only my guideline was only 4 hours a day, because that's all I get. Then physically, man, once you hire her, all of a sudden, like, hire things for the ball rolling from there for 80 pounds away. And then, that's sort of dwindled back. I here. Now it's like I'm gonna go to house for a brewery, or whenever the ball keep going through. We're still learning, so out roll as quickly as it would with BD, but it's still roll. It's still where I think the biggest challenge in encouragement. We would dead go like, okay, what you? We would, Brandon, all that to say, able to hire somebody on sooner rather than later doing it.
Yeah.
That is a great tip, and it's almost universal. You guys are, when you like what you do, there's some built-in resistance to that because it does require some trust and that it may be some faith that God will take care of the parts that I can't quite do.
And that's what I found when we hired Gus. He will, with all of our profits work out that way. It turns, I would be back more, maybe operating. We're still trying to get through that quite concerning, but part of that so we shut down for a week because of the flood. We went out out there while we were extra for I figured that I wouldn't be out of business career with anything urgent. But then once we were back in busy for a few weeks, and only like last week, this week had been a bit slower. So I think once you can get to more, we figure out our schedule and folks start realizing, their weight was improving.
That's a good tip.
Yeah,
that's a good tip. And insightful from having gotten started when you get well, thanks for taking time to talk to me today. Hopefully this will encourage some other business owners to either launch or the thing to push him forward has been it's work around. I mean, things are tougher financially than they were when I was in the world with table drop. The lifestyle's changed. Probably. Well, I second that.
And 30.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Nathan.
Well, that's a wrap for today's Business Bottom Line podcast. Take that tip and make your bottom line turn from red to black. Next week, we'll talk with another special guest, and we'll see you right here next time in the Jewel City of the Mountains, Greenville, Tennessee. This is the Stash saying we're here to inspire, inform, and improve your bottom line so you can grow, grow, grow.